Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report. For those of you who are new, my name is Jane. So we have kind of a fun week this week. I mean, I think it's fun. I don't know about you guys, but we have the moon right now. Here she is at 18 degrees of Libra. She is building up into a full moon eclipse in Scorpio. So on May 5th, 12:30, it's like 12:31 p.m. Central Time, the moon comes in and we have that direct opposition with the sun there. So we have that sun, earth, moon alignment. It is a partial eclipse, so it's not as intense as the new moon eclipse that we had a couple of weeks ago. It does feel a little bit anticlimactic for closing out this eclipse season, and not only closing out this eclipse season, but also closing out the nodal transit in Scorpio and Taurus, because with the next set of eclipses, the nodes are going to be in April and Libra. Okay, they transition in July. The next eclipse season isn't until October. So this is really the last big shebang, and it's kind of going out with a little bit of a fizzle, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't still be somewhat eventful. I know the energy has been pretty heightened. Now, I pretty much kind of warned you guys back on April 6th when we had the full moon in Libra. I told you that was the beginning of eclipse season, and from April 6th, the energy was kind of building and building and building because we had some other astrological events going on. So I know it's been agitated. I know it's been a heightened state for many of you. Many of you might have been feeling exhausted. Maybe April really wasn't the best month. I've heard that from a lot of people. Like, I had a great April, but I've also heard a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, that was the hardest April I think I've ever had. So I don't know what was going on there, but it could have been eclipse related, could have been Jupiter related. But it's just that everything was just so like intense. It got hot, it got intense, it got energized, and it got a little disruptive. Okay, but the disruption was to be expected. Again, I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. The disruption was to be expected, and that was a good thing, right? Because it's the universe, your higher self, saying, get out of this comfort zone, kind of grabbing you by the shoulders and shaking you a little bit and saying, you have to get out of this. The irritability, the agitation was symptomatic of some area that you don't have control over and you're not happy with, and you are feeling like you're settling, or you're feeling like you are complacent and you don't want to be, right? There's a big difference between contentment and complacency and settling. All right, there's that fine line. So if there's any area of your life where you are more leaning toward complacency and settling, that probably really got your blood boiling a little bit over the past couple of weeks and saying, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like this circumstance in my life. I don't like what's happening, and I don't like what I'm contributing to it. So the past couple of weeks really was about getting yourself out of something. And I did mention that with this Mercury retrograde, there's a lot of potential to be revealed, okay, the way out, to find out or to figure out or to realize or to have that light bulb turn on in your mind of like, this is how to get out, okay? So whatever ideas you've had, please don't discount them, even if they feel a little bit scary, even if it requires a little bit more work, even if it means you have to take a little bit more on, or whatever the case is. If it feels a little bit scary and yet it feels like it could possibly get you closer to where you want to be, I would trust that instinct right now. I'm not getting a sense. There's nothing really going on in the astrology that suggests like illusions or not being clear, or like we don't really have a lot of Neptune action going on, So it's just, I would trust that instinct. I really would. Trust what your gut and what your heart has been telling you. And it's also possible with a Mercury retrograde, right? We know that things come back during retrogrades, that if there was some kind of a project or a creative idea or some kind of thing that you've been mulling around in your brain, maybe for a long time, maybe not even like I would like to say, oh, maybe it's something you've been thinking about for a couple of weeks, but I don't think it's something you've been thinking about for a couple of weeks. I think if something has been coming back to you This is something that you have been mulling over maybe for years. Okay, maybe, just maybe, this has been going on for years for you. So the fact that it's resurfacing right now and it's coming out and it's getting more of your attention right now probably means that now would be a good time to really take that idea seriously, to take that option more seriously, and maybe to do something about it. You know, with all the Mars action, right? We got the full moon eclipse in Scorpio on May 5th. That's Mars ruled traditionally. We had the new moon eclipse in Aries, right? 29 degrees of Aries. That was the big deal. The big new moon, total solar eclipse there. 29 degrees of Aries, also ruled by Mars. And Mars is over here in Cancer, guiding us with the way that we feel. And we may not be able to explain why it is we feel like we need to do this, or why it is we're feeling like this is important for us right now. But it is, and there's an initiating aspect with the Mars, right? Mars is about setting a goal and going after it. He's a straight arrow. It's even indicated here in his symbol itself. It's boom, one direction. So I don't know that you're going to be able to ignore it. I think with Mars in Cancer, that gut feeling, right? Cancer rules that stomach area, right? That gut feeling of like, I don't know why I got to do this. I just got to, and I got to do it for myself, right? Mars is about yourself, your identity, your autonomy, your sense of individuality. This is something that you need to do for you. And with the Scorpio moon, there is this component of obsession almost, like you're not going to be able to just walk away from it. And these moons are really setting the tone for the next 6 months. All right. The next 6 months, if you invest and if you try, chances are you are going to be able to build a ton of momentum with something. And momentum is good because it might bring in money, it might bring in people, it might take you to a new place, it might introduce you to a lot of new things. So if for nothing else, I'm not saying that this like thing that might be coming back for some of you, if it does come back, I'm not saying that that is your destiny. It might be for some, but it might not be your destiny. It might not be the final resting place, okay? It might be a step that is required for you to get to where you're needing to be. This is why you need to trust what's happening right now. I wouldn't fight, I wouldn't push against things at all right now. Okay, now I'm not saying you have to be like no backbone and just do whatever everyone else says. Of course, you can be selective to a degree, but if something feels right, and is this week too, we have Venus coming into Cancer. So valuing that intuition is like, it's impossible for you not to be valuing that intuition. Plus, we still have the sun creeping forward over the next 4 or 5 days, continuing to be in that conjunction with Uranus. So that, I don't know if I said this already, but I love Uranian energy because it makes us feel electric, and it has the potential to like hit us like a bolt of lightning in terms of ideas or ingenuity, creativity. Maybe a new passion comes online for you. Maybe you discover something interesting that really takes you down a really cool new path. Maybe you meet someone really incredible, whatever the case may be. So that mixed with following that intuitive gut feeling, I like I say, I don't know that you can really go wrong. I don't know that you'll be making a big mistake. Now, I'm not saying to just throw your money into some random place or randomly quit your job and go do something. This is a good time for you to explore. You know, you don't have to throw your whole life away. Like, be smart about it. I feel like I have to disclaimer this because some people take these things like really seriously. Don't throw your whole life away, but please open your options. 2023 is having the mark of a pivotal year. And if you want a pivot in your life, especially after the past 5 years with Saturn like having us in a chokehold a little bit, if you're wanting a big pivot in your life, Now's the time to pay attention to where that compass is starting to point, because chances are it's readjusting in some way, shape, or form. And whatever grabs you, of course, that's the beautiful thing about Scorpio, it really can sink those talons in. So whatever is grabbing you right now, I would give it time. I would give it space to breathe. And I would explore, and I would read, and I would research, and I would look into it, and I would try to figure out if this really is something that could take me where I want to go, because it's likely really random, really unique. It's not in the original plan type of thing. It's in the, I don't know why I'm getting childhood vibes. I don't quite know why that's happening. Maybe that's Cancerian energy activated with Venus coming in. We'll still have Mars in there as well, plus the Mercury retrograde. Why? Again, this might not apply to all of you, but I'm really picking up, so at least one of you, something from a long, long time ago is coming back. And it's saying, this is what you need to do, that you were on that right page ever since you were a little kid. This reminds me of this story, The Alchemist. I don't know if you guys have ever read that, but here's this dude, and he gets sent on this long journey to find the treasure, only to find out that the treasure was buried under the tree back at home where he used to rest like every single day as a shepherd. I actually haven't read that book in a long time. I could be wrong. Wasn't he a shepherd? Right? So he was trying to find the gold. He didn't know where the gold was. So he set off trying to find the treasure and go and go and go, and grew and grew and grew and became this incredible magician, basically, only to discover that it was there the entire time. And it's kind of the energy that I'm getting, that something has been with you the whole time. And this eclipse season was about activating it and getting you all riled up and like, I got to get out of here. I got to move. I got to make this happen. I want to make that money. I want to build this business. I want to. And then boom, all of a sudden there's this like thing that you can't ignore right now. You can't ignore it. You can't put it down. You can't deprioritize it. It's something that's really demanding your attention. And there does seem to be some treasure there, especially with Taurus season activated. Not to mention we are preparing in the next couple of weeks. May 16th, Jupiter comes into Taurus. This is one of the reasons why I'm like, there's no accidents right now. Okay, there's no accidents. And the way that you've been identifying, chances are that is going to be up for a massive revision. And whatever is surfacing is likely the culprit of that. So it is an exciting week. Over the next 6 months, it will be very interesting to see the people who actually follow that gut instinct, who don't repress it, but who bring it to life. It'll be amazing to see how that grows and the twists and turns that your life could take. Everything will even out, by the way, in October. But it's not a time for balance. It's not a time really for ease. I mean, you can have ease in your life, but I think if you're really wanting to get there, whatever there is, you have to start pushing. Okay, and I said this with my Soul Seeker group. I just did a whole big eclipse video for them. But Mars is not an idle sign. So this season was about activation, not about rest and harmony and balance. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind over the next 6 months. We will come into balance later. But the more you take onto your plate, the more responsibility you accept, the more you say, I can do this, I will try it, I will experiment, I'll look into it, and you actually do it, not just talk about it, but you actually do it. The more you do that, the more and more your life is going to start really, really spinning. And that can be so exhilarating and so exciting. Okay? It is a cool week. I hope you enjoy it. You guys know I love you. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.